Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cassandra Rostica, and I am the IVMF Alumni Services Coordinator. Thank you for joining us today for today's VetNet webinar focused on how to start selling on Amazon Store with Senior Business Development Manager Abby Malchow. Abby will share some valuable insights about how to get started with Amazon Store and all the opportunities within it. We'll also allow some time at the end for questions. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Abby to share these insights. Thanks, Abby.
Thank you, Cassandra. So as Cassandra mentioned, today we're going to do a pretty high level overview of how to start selling in Amazon Store. But real quick before we start, my name's Abby. I've been at Amazon almost 5 years now and working with small businesses and entrepreneurs the entire time. So I'm very much a subject matter expert on how to sell in the store, as well as all of the different resources and programs that exist at Amazon for small businesses, as well as all the different ways entrepreneurs can start a business with Amazon or earn side income with Amazon. So I'm very fluent in the landscape here. And then before I joined Amazon, I worked at Intel Corporation. And then I'm a retired US Navy chief. So definitely one of the key focal points through partnering with an organization like the Institute for Veterans and Military Families is continue to be able to help my fellow veterans and my fellow military community to be able to provide these opportunities to you. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Here's a quick look at our agenda today. So first of all, we're going to talk about why you should sell an Amazon store. Maybe it's not a fit for everyone, but it does give you access to new customers. We are going to talk about what to sell and when, because timing is critical to your success. Then we're going to talk about how to get started, how to list products, how to deliver those products, growth opportunities that exist at Amazon. And then some additional resources that we have at Amazon for small businesses. So I know we're going to have Q&A at the end, and it may be a little bit of information, and I'll try not to go too fast, but feel free to take notes as much as possible. So why should you sell an Amazon store? I know this is a virtual event, but if I were asking this, or if I were doing this event in person, I always ask the audience, like, hey, who in here is a Prime customer? Who in here is already selling in Amazon stores, already selling online? But we know at Amazon that customers are always going to value the widest selection. They're always going to value low prices and fast, convenient delivery. And we have a lot of data surrounding the delivery portion of this. Most consumers now expect 2-day shipping or 1-day shipping, and it's very much part of the customer experience. But just keep in mind that when you're selling a product in the store, if you're selling at a price point that's very, very high, it may not be a good fit. So people typically buy products on Amazon at a certain price point. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide, or actually in a couple slides, I forget. So not many people know this either, but more than 60% of sales in Amazon store come from independent sellers. And those independent sellers, most of them are small and medium-sized businesses. It's very much a growth driver if you're a small business looking to scale, because it's going to give you access to millions of customers. And I do want to say that this data is very current. It is from 2022. We do monitor this data every single year. And I will say also in 2022, Amazon independent sellers created over 1.5 million US based jobs. And the brand owners, we'll talk a little bit about brand ownership too, as well in this presentation. They grew their sales by more than 20% year over year. So again, very much a growth driver for small businesses. So this is data from the US, national US average in 2022, but independent sellers in our store in 2022 sold more than 4.1 billion products, which is crazy when you think about it. And they averaged more than $230,000 in sales from Amazon's store, which is pretty impressive. So not too shabby of a number. Now let's talk about what to sell and when, because oftentimes when I talk to small businesses, because I've been doing this for a long time at Amazon, people want to immediately sell in the store. They may not have their target customer identified, they may not have their product ready, they may not have a trademark, and it's always timing is so crucial here to your success. I couldn't emphasize that more. So I talked a little bit about this earlier, but typically when you shop an Amazon store, you want a product that's easy to package and ship. So I actually worked with a small business yesterday, or a seller in our store yesterday, believe it or not, was selling bathtubs. I would have never guessed, people sell bathtubs in Amazon, but he was having so much difficulty selling the bathtub in Amazon store because it's really not the right product to sell in Amazon store. It has a high price point, it's large, it's hard to ship, it takes up a lot of storage. So these are just some of the things you want to consider before you decide to sell in the store. You do want a product that has branding potential, and we will talk about the importance of brand ownership. You want a product that's affordable. To my earlier point, you probably don't want to sell a bathtub that's like $800. You probably want to sell something. What we typically see on Amazon store is anywhere from, a few bucks to over maybe $100, $200. And then you want a product that has a long shelf life. Now you can sell food products in Amazon store, but when it comes to, and you can even sell some refrigerated items in Amazon store too. But the reason why we bring up shelf life is it just helps you from an inventory management perspective. So just keep that in mind, because if you have a longer shelf life, it's easier to manage your inventory. So what we talked about, what to sell in the store. Now let's talk about when to sell in the store. Again, timing is critical to your success here. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It does take a little bit of work to really be able to be successful as a seller at an Amazon store. So timing is critical. Now, when you're ready to sell in the store, you have your product ready to ship. So you have more than a minimum viable product at this point. You have a proven product, you have an established supply chain, an established manufacturer, or maybe you're making the product yourself, but you're ready to scale, you're ready to grow. You also understand who your target customer is. This is very important because you don't want to advertise to everyone. You definitely want to advertise to who you think your target customer is. And that does take a little bit of research to do. And like I mentioned, your inventory and supply chain are established. This is critical because if you run out of inventory in an Amazon fulfillment center, they will take down your product listing, and you don't ever want that to happen. So it's better to make sure that you can maintain inventory. And we will talk a little bit more about inventory levels and what that means later in the presentation. But you do need to have your supply chain established. Oops, sorry, I hit forward too soon, but let's talk about how to get started. So we do have two selling plans. The individual selling plan is 99 cents a sale. This is for folks who are just starting out. They are probably selling less than 40 items a month. And I will call out though, with the individual selling plan, there's far less data analytics with the individual plan than you would get with the professional plan. So just keep that in mind as well. With a professional plan, it's $39.99 a month. And this is for folks who are probably going to sell more than 40 items a month. And this is also gives you access to, like I mentioned, so much data analytics. Amazon literally, when you start selling in the store, pretty much provides you a data analyst for free because there's so much reporting available, which will really help you from a growth and optimization perspective. With a professional plan, you can also sell in the US, Canada, and Mexico. Now, I will call out that you can switch these plans at any time. You don't have to sign up for one or the other for a certain period of time. You can sign up for the individual for maybe like a month or two and then switch to the professional and vice versa. So you're not in a long-term commitment here with the selling plans. You have a lot of flexibility. Now, there are two ways to create your account. I always call out Amazon Business because there are going to be people in the room whose primary customer is another business. So if you're selling B2B, business to business, you want to create your account through Amazon Business. This is business.amazon.com, and that's the picture that you see on the left here. If your if you're selling direct to consumer, D2C as we call it, you want to sell on Amazon.com, and that is sell.amazon.com. So I just want to call out those two differences here. I will say that if you are selling on Amazon Business, you're selling B2B. Once you create a product listing page on Amazon Business, that product listing is also available on Amazon.com. So your product listing is visible on both sites. So it's pretty great tool to have. And if you do have a diversity certification, let's say you're a certified disabled veteran owned business, always upload that certification to either account. And we can talk a little bit about more of that later, but it will work in your best interest to add that certification. Believe it or not, we cannot identify on our end who is a veteran in the store, who's a military spouse in the store. So if you do have that certification, please add it to your account, because you'll see that one of the key things I did when I first started Amazon was create the military family small business storefront where you can shop from military small businesses. And we can't find people to feature in that storefront unless they have a certification. So definitely upload your certification. What you'll need to create your account, you'll need a bank account number and a bank routing number. You'll need a chargeable credit card. You'll need a government issued national ID, so something like a driver's license, for example, tax information, and a phone number. So pretty straightforward here, what you need to create your account. Once you've created your account, you'll want to get to know Seller Central. Seller Central is what we call your home base for running your business. Everything you need is within Seller Central. It's honestly crazy how much stuff is within there. So you can keep track of your inventory. Again, Amazon's basically going to give you a data analyst for free just by having a Seller Central account. You can update your product listings, download all those different reports that I was mentioning. It's amazing what you can see through the data. Use the tools to monitor your performance. And then this one is huge. It allows you to contact selling partner support. So if you do hit a roadblock, if you do need help, you can open up a help ticket within Seller Central and contact selling partner support. And the pro tip I always give here is make sure you always call them and not email them, because once you open up the help ticket, there's going to be an option to either call or email. Always call them. That's the best way to get help, because we only have a limited number of people that provide support, but we have millions and millions of sellers. So it's just easier to get support through a phone call, because emails can get lost pretty easy. And then keep track of your daily sales. That's very important too. Now let's talk about listing products. This is can be notoriously difficult, but I promise it's not too painful. So what you need to list your product, you do need a product ID. Think of this as a global trade item number. This could be something like a UPC as an example. Amazon uses these product IDs to identify the type of product that you're selling. So if you do need a product ID, if you're a brand owner and you're selling something completely new to Amazon, you'll likely need to purchase a UPC code in order to add that to Amazon. So just keep that in mind as well. But if you're selling something that's already sold on Amazon, Amazon can easily reference that through their database with the product ID. So it's very simple. You'll need a SKU. This is really unique to you, the retailer. So let's say you sell a product that has multiple colors. The SKU is going to change for each color that you provide the product. So it's really meant to help you from like an inventory management perspective. You'll need a product title, a product description and bullet points, product images. And we will talk a little bit about the images, because this is the one that most people do not do the right thing when it comes to images, and it's a huge roadblock. I can assure you. Search terms and relevant keywords. This one is huge as well. You can add as many keywords as you could possibly want for your product listing, because they're not visible on your product page. They're only used on the back end. So let's say you're selling a teddy bear. I always use teddy bear as my example. You can use as many keywords as you want that you think people would use to search for a teddy bear. For example, stuffed animal or stuffed bear, child's toy, teddy bear, stuffed bear. I mean, you can really get creative there with the keywords, because it's just going to help you from a discoverability perspective. There's no limit to how many keywords you can use. Just keep that in mind. Now, this is probably the best slide in the entire presentation because it tells you everything you need to know about the product listing title. So you'll want to capitalize the first letter of each word. This image kind of tells you everything you need to know. This image is like the perfect example of what a product listing title should look like. They've capitalized the first letter of every word. They did not use all caps because that looks like you're really shouting at someone. So never do that. They used the number 4 rather than spelling out the word for. They limited it to less than 50 characters. You do not want a long product listing title. I was at Veteran Edge with IVMF earlier this year, and I met a seller in the store there whose product listing title was so long, I could not tell what he was trying to sell. I could only know by looking at his image that it was a bag of some type of food product, but he had so much going on in the product listing title, it was hard for me to determine what he was trying to sell. So keep it short. Do not use special characters like the one you see here on the screen. Never include the price. It's already going to be on the page anyways. And just don't use any promotional or subjective commentary. Amazon will disapprove that because this is something that you think is a great product, but maybe someone else doesn't think it's a great product. So just avoid promotional and subjective commentary. Now, for the folks in the room who are brand owners, you have the opportunity to create a brand store. A brand store is something I always encourage brand owners to do, especially if you're selling more than one product in Amazon store, because what it does is it allows you to improve your discoverability. What you see here in this image, this is a really great example of what a brand store looks like. All of her products are consolidated on one page. You can go to her page and you know that, oh, this is why she created this company. This is why her product is unique. She has her story on there. She has curated collections on there, and all of the products she's selling is in one place. So it allows you to really share who you are as a brand and as a company and get people to discover more products that you're selling. So if you are a brand owner, we're going to talk about that in the next slide. Definitely create a brand store. We'll also talk about that, why that's important when it comes to advertising. As I mentioned, brand registry is very, very much important. Do not ever sell an Amazon store. If you are a brand owner, never sell an Amazon store until you have an active trademark. So many people in my entire tenure at Amazon that I've met, they will be selling in the store without a trademark. And when that happens, anyone can duplicate your product under the exact same name, and there's nothing that Amazon can do to stop that. I actually worked with a military spouse. She was on Shark Tank, and one of the sharks invested in her company, and her product got duplicated within 24 hours on Amazon because she was not trademarked, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. So again, do not sell in the store unless you're trademarked first. That's the biggest piece of advice I could ever give you. If you are trademarked, you have to have an active registered trademark. You will enroll in brand registry. And when you enroll in brand registry, it allows you to create the brand store like I just showed you on the previous slide. This is a free service that Amazon provides where they're actively protecting your brand on your behalf. So you always want to sell in the store as a brand owner and be enrolled in brand registry because it gives you access to much more protection. And it also gives you access to unique features like the brand store. If you don't have an active registered trademark yet, and many folks don't, you can also leverage our IP Accelerator. The IP Accelerator is basically a network of vetted IP law firms. Amazon has vetted all of these IP law firms. And you can go there, you can work with one of them to help file your trademark. What's great about the IP Accelerator is you only need to have a pending trademark in order to sell in the store and enroll in brand registry. So it speeds up the process a little bit. You just have to have a pending trademark through IP Accelerator, and then you can sell in the store and be protected. So it's a great program. Now let's talk about delivering products, because I'm pretty sure all of us, maybe many of us, have an Amazon package waiting for us when we get home today. So we have two, and I'm going to cheat and talk about three ways to fulfill your products. So that's going to be on the next slide. We have fulfillment by Amazon, which is what gives you that Prime badge on the product page. It's what gives you that 2-day, that 1-day shipping. Then we have fulfillment by merchant, where you're fulfilling that product yourself or through a third-party provider. Now, you can always do a cost comparison between the two. There's the FBA revenue calculator. You just have to Google FBA revenue calculator. It's a very comprehensive calculator that will show you, do a cost comparison between what it costs to use FBA versus what it costs to fulfill on your own. And it takes into account everything: storage fees, product dimensions, you name it. So you can just easily do a cost comparison there. But we do know that when people adopt FBA, they typically see a 25% increase in sales on average, because most people do want that prime guarantee. They want that 1 day, that 2 day shipping. Now, I'm dating myself here, but when I first joined Amazon, we did have seller fulfilled Prime, and then they took it away and now they're bringing it back. So it's pretty exciting. Seller fulfilled Prime is where you get the Prime badge. You give people the Prime shipping, but you're fulfilling the product yourself. So as you can imagine, there is pretty specific criteria to get the Prime badge and fulfill the products yourself. Right now, this is, they will be accepting applications later this year, but you can sign up to be on the wait list. There is a trial period to meet the program requirements, because they want to make sure that you're shipping about 99% of everything on time. So it is pretty intense, because you do have to meet that time requirement. Once you've successfully passed the trial period, you're automatically enrolled into the program. You don't have to worry about that. And believe it or not, there's some really great products that are a good fit for seller fulfilled Prime. It's not a good fit for every product, but there's some products that are a great fit for that. I use a pot pie example here. I met with a small business owner earlier, maybe a month or so ago, and she sold pot pies on Amazon, but she had to fulfill the pot pies herself because there was a refrigeration requirement, and she wanted to ensure that the product was delivered as fresh as possible. And she had a trusted shipping provider that did that for her. So she's a great example of seller fulfilled Prime. She's a great product that would be a perfect fit for seller fulfilled Prime. Some of the other products that would be a good fit for this program are seasonal items with unpredictable demand. So think of things that are pretty popular in the summer, like lawn toys, which may not be popular in the winter. Items with variations, slow moving goods, inventory that requires special handling and preparation, like the pot pie example that I just shared. So to learn more, you can visit that URL. Now, a lot of people don't know what the specifics of fulfillment by Amazon are, but if you are a small business looking to scale, it absolutely makes sense to enroll in fulfillment by Amazon, because you only do one thing in the process. You ship your product to a fulfillment center, and then Amazon does everything else for you. They pick, pack, and ship all of your orders. They manage all of your customer service and returns, which is huge, because if you're a small business trying to scale, you probably don't have time to address every single return, every single customer service inquiry, and they manage all of that for you. And like I said, it increases your sales on average by 20 to 25% by having that Prime guarantee. And it's very cost effective. I know a lot of people think, oh, it must be so expensive to use FBA, but it's really cents on the dollar to store your products in the fulfillment center. It's very much competitive with any other shipping provider. We do have Buy with Prime. This is one of my favorite new features that Amazon launched last year. So if you have your own e-commerce site where you're selling your products on your, let's say you have a Shopify or something like that, you can also give people the option to have that Prime shipping and see Amazon product reviews on your own website. And that's what Buy with Prime is. This attracts Amazon customers to your site because they're able to purchase your product and still get that Prime guarantee. What we've seen with this program is, on average, there's a 25% increase in conversion. It's huge. It is available only in the US for right now, but it gives customers that familiar, trusted shopping experience. They can look at product reviews. They know that they're going to get their product in 1 to 2 days, and it's just a great way to optimize and increase your conversion. There is some eligibility for the program. You must be US based. You must have your own website. That's an absolute must. You must have a professional Seller Central account or an Amazon supply chain account. You must have an Amazon Pay account, which can be set up during registration. And that's it. That's all the eligibility criteria for this program. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. If you are interested in this program, definitely go to buywithprime.amazon.com. Now let's talk about some opportunities for growth. Product reviews are huge. I know personally, if I'm buying a product that I'm not familiar with, I'm always going to look at the reviews and see what their rating average is. If it's more than 4 stars, I'm going to buy it. Less than 4 stars, not going to buy it. So product reviews, with your first product review, we have seen this increase your sales by up to 3.5 times. So product reviews are huge in improving visibility and driving sales. We do have a program to help you earn product reviews, and that's called Amazon Vine. Now, there is very specific criteria to Amazon Vine. It's not available to everyone. You must be enrolled in brand registry. So this is the perk of being a brand owner. You do get access to a lot more. So you must be enrolled in brand registry within your first 6 months of selling on Amazon, which most people are, because when you're selling in the store as a brand owner, you're going to immediately sign up for brand registry anyways. And then after that, you must enroll in Amazon Vine within 90 days of becoming a brand owner. So this goes back to my original point where timing is critical to your success. You don't want to sell in the store unless you've just gotten that trademark, and then you go ahead and you set up the whole process because you're eligible for all these additional features and programs. What's cool about this program is Amazon, basically they have this pool of their most trusted product reviewers, and these product reviewers will give you a guaranteed review for your product, and all you do is give them the product for free. So it's basically a guaranteed way to get product reviews, because it's not always easy to get product reviews without that. So just a great program to keep in mind. Advertising is huge. I could honestly talk about advertising all day. It is necessary to advertise. A lot of people don't, and they're like, why am I not selling anything? And I'm like, well, are you advertising? I'm going to simplify this in the most simple way you could possibly know. I always use teddy bear as my example. You could even go to amazon.com and type in teddy bear and you'll see what I'm talking about. When you type in teddy bear in the search bar, your search results are always going to be the same on Amazon because it's all keyword based, right? So what's going to be at the top of the page is the brand store, the sponsored brand store. This is a huge benefit to brand owners. You'll see this image right here with the teddy bears at the very top. The brand store can advertise multiple products that they're selling in the store, and it just increases visibility of who they are as a brand. Now, what will next populate in the search results under the brand store is the sponsored product, which is what you also see here in the image. You'll see that all of those 4 teddy bear options underneath the brand store, they're all sponsored. So, and you can also offer coupons as well, which will help with discoverability. But that's what you're going to always see in the search results. And then after what the sponsored brand and the sponsored products, you'll see other products depending on very much a hybrid of the different metrics that they have. Now, everything is cost per click, so you only pay for what people click on. Like I mentioned, you can sponsor your product, you can sponsor your brand. We also offer sponsored display. The biggest thing I'll call out with sponsored display is this is off Amazon advertising. It's not on Amazon, it's off Amazon, and it doesn't target keywords. It targets customer purchasing behavior. So it's going to know that, hey, this person's probably going to buy a teddy bear, and it's going to target that ad to the person who has a high interest of buying a teddy bear. So it's another great way to advertise. Now, many people don't know this, but in 2022, we launched our small business badge. So this kind of goes back to my point on certification as well, because let me tell you, I've been trying to get a veteran badge at Amazon since I joined this company. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to happen. But for now, we can identify small businesses in Amazon's store through this small business badge. And it just helps customers, identify, well, who's a small business, and help them see, what kind of products that are made by small businesses. So this is the best website, one of the best websites I can share, amazon.com/support small, because like I mentioned, in 2019, I helped create our military family small business storefront. if you go to amazon.com/support small, you'll be able to see that storefront, and you'll be able to shop from other people that we have identified as veterans and military families selling in our store. You can also shop from women-owned small businesses and Black-owned small businesses. Options are endless, but it's just a great website to keep in mind if you are trying to shop from small businesses. This is brand new. We just launched this in July for Prime Day. Now you can search or filter all your search results by small businesses, which is huge. So if again, back to the teddy bear, if I type in teddy bear and I click, you'll see this in the image here. If I click small business, the only thing that's going to populate in search results are teddy bears made by small businesses. So it's just a great way to purchase from other small businesses. And we've made it easy through adding that filter. That's probably the best way I could describe that. I know this is a lot of text on this slide, but just remember it's on the left-hand part of the navigation menu. Just click business type, small business, and everything will be made by a small business. Now let's share some additional resources we have for small businesses. I always bring Amazon Handmade up. During my time at Amazon, I've noticed over the years that many military spouses are great candidates for Amazon Handmade. Amazon Handmade is like our version of Etsy. It's really a community of artisan sellers. So let's say you make your own product or you hand alter a product. You're a really good fit for our Handmade program. It is an application-based program, but one of the greatest benefits of this program is they waive the $39.99 selling fee each month, and you only pay one fee, which is the 15% referral fee. And then it also allows you to create a brand store, kind of like what you see on with other brand stores, but you have your own little artisan page, and it shows who you are as an artisan and all of the different products you make. So it's a much more personalized shopping experience. Now, we just recently relaunched this earlier this year, Amazon Small Business Academy. This very much took us almost a year and a half to relaunch. We've put a lot of hard work into this program. This is a free resource for small businesses and entrepreneurs. It's an educational resource. We have live webinars you can join, ask me anything, Q&A sessions with different experts. Let's say you want to meet with someone and discuss access to capital or financing your business. We have sessions dedicated solely to that. It's not specific to Amazon. It can be no matter where you're at in the business life cycle. And we work very, very closely with our partner, Collegiate Entrepreneur Organization, to be able to provide this content for you for free. To learn more, you can just visit smallbusiness.amazon. I will call out, it's not smallbusiness.amazon.com. It's literally just smallbusiness.amazon. We also have Founders Table, which is a program within the Amazon Small Business Academy. I am the host of our Founders Table event series. We do them about quarterly, I would say. And in these episodes, I interview different business experts. The picture you here see on the screen was the one we just did in July. I interviewed Arlen Hamilton, who's the founder of Backstage Capital. And then I always interview a local small business, and we do vary the geographies. So Detroit was our last location. We're going to New Orleans next. But I interviewed Birdie Boutique, and they happen to be a veteran-owned small business in the Detroit area. And these are mostly virtual. We just did our second episode and had a small studio audience. So we will continue with having a studio audience, but I always recommend people to join these virtually because we do networking sessions, which have proven to be extremely popular. You can basically network with maybe 7 or 8 other businesses based on the topic of your choice. And it's a really effective and efficient way to network. So all of that can be found on smallbusiness.amazon. We also have This is Small Business podcast. All of this is also on smallbusiness.amazon. This is not Amazon specific. Andrea, my coworker, she hosts this series. She basically interviews different small business owners and entrepreneurs for more education and inspiration. So it's a really fun podcast. We did a live podcast interview at Veteran Edge this year with Matt Butler, who's the founder of Rollers, and he was featured on this podcast. So you might want to check that episode out because he's a veteran like the rest of us, and you may find it interesting. Now, I know we talked a little bit, very high level content on selling in the store, but if you really want to dive deep into certain topics like fulfillment by Amazon, we do have Seller University. I always give people the pro tip of the Seller University YouTube channel because anyone can access it. However, if you're already selling in the store, you can access Seller University within Seller Central and is very, very much like hands-on. You can like they dedicate literally a whole hour to just talking about product reviews and advertising, and you can meet one-on-one with different experts from those programs. But that's if you're already selling in the store. If you're not already selling in the store, just check out the YouTube channel. And then we do have seller forums. They launched a military seller forum earlier this year, or maybe it was late last year, but you can connect with other sellers once you're in Seller Central and really learn from your peers. Let's say you're stuck on something, you need help with something, or you just want advice and guidance, you can really just learn from your peers who are already doing that effectively. And it's just a great way to help with selling in the store because it can be complicated. We do have our Black Business Accelerator. This is for certified Black-owned small businesses. Again, back to the certification, you do need to be certified to be eligible for this program. This is a great program. It basically provides mentorship, access to grants, advertising support, so much great benefits to using this program. So if you're a product-based certified Black-owned business, I definitely encourage you to apply for this program. Amazon Lending, believe it or not, Birdie Boutique, that Detroit-based small business that's veteran-owned that I just mentioned, they actually got 2 loans through this program for their Amazon business. And these loans are extremely easy to repay. They just come out of your sales on Amazon. The biggest thing I will call out here is you have to be selling on Amazon for a minimum of 1 year to be eligible. But you can check your eligibility in Seller Central under the growth tab and see if you're eligible for this financing. And here's just a quick snapshot of the partners that I work with and that I manage. We work with the SBA, SCORE, IVMF, Ladies Who Launch, the Collegiate Entrepreneur Organization, Hello Alice, and many others. But these are the ones that we have established partnerships with. And I believe we may be at the end of our presentation. I do have a QR code here if you're able to kindly scan this on your mobile phone and submit a survey. I'm always trying to optimize this content whenever I present. I want to make sure that I'm delivering value to you. And if I'm not, I would like to know. I always want to improve here. So please do share your feedback with me so we can continue to help you in the future. And I believe that's everything that I have.
Thanks so much, Abby, for all of this great information. And as you mentioned, Amazon has many different initiatives as far as, programs like the Black Business Accelerator, many things that veterans and military spouses can take advantage of to boost their business. So thanks so much for that. I do have a couple of questions, Abby, from registrants. And also, if any of you have questions, feel free to include them in the chat and I can go ahead and relay them to Abby. So the first question, Abby, I have is, what should entrepreneurs have established before deciding to launch their products on Amazon?
Yeah, that kind of goes back to my earlier point about having that trademark. You definitely want to have that active registered trademark first. And if you don't have one, you just want a pending one through the IP Accelerator. That's always step number 1. And then just making sure that you know who your target customer is and you can fulfill those orders through a robust supply chain. So those are just some of the key things to consider before selling in the store.
Awesome. Thank you. And also, how would one decide on a profitable product and where should they source, or do you have any suggestions on where to source the products from?
I get this question so many times, and everyone's like, well, what do I sell on Amazon? And there's There's a couple ways to tackle this beast. We don't have time today to talk about the product opportunity explorer, but if you're already selling in the store, this is a feature available to you to help you identify new products to sell, but you have to already be selling in the store. If that applies to you, just search product opportunity explorer and see how that would benefit you. There is a report every year that Jungle Scout produces called State of the Amazon Seller. Always read that report because it's going to show you what the most popular categories are, the most popular product categories are, and that's going to help you strategize a bit. I always say just because they're popular categories doesn't mean you should sell in them. I think home and kitchen is one of our most popular categories year over year. So maybe you don't want to sell a product in a saturated category. Maybe you want to sell a product in a less popular, less saturated category. So just keep that in mind. We can't tell you what type of product to sell. That's really up to you, but you can see the data in that report and it should help inform you.
Awesome, thank you. And how would a vendor get their products to populate first on Amazon search? And I think this is going back to what you said about like certain keywords and things like that. And maybe if you have like anything else to add.
Yeah, this is another popular question I get all the time as well. It's really going to be so many different variables. First of all, keywords, yes, absolutely. Are you advertising? That's absolutely necessary. Product images. This one I didn't have time to talk about, but I will say you have to have 6 high res images. That's going to help big time. No one really wants to buy a product with just a couple crappy images. And I say crappy because let me tell you, I've seen some really terrible images out there. Make sure you have 6 high res images, 500 by 500 pixel or 1000 by 1000 pixel. Video is huge as well. A lot of people are using video now. Product reviews, prime shipping. It's really a multitude of different factors to help you get to the first page of search results. I'll always caution that it's a bit of trial and error before you get to that first page. So you just have to be a little patient with it and see what's working for you, what's not working for you to finally get to that first page of search results.
Right, right. Thanks, Abby. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into some questions from the chat. So we have one from James Stewart. He's asking, how should you set the business up if you're selling to the government?
That
Or
would
how
be
you, oh, go ahead. Go
oh
ahead.
oh yeah, if he's selling to the government, that would be Amazon Business. And he would set it up through Amazon Business. But it wouldn't just be the government. It could be public school systems. It could be local government, city government. It depends on the product. But I'm guessing if you're selling a product and you're looking to sell to other businesses, such as the government, then it would be Amazon Business.
Awesome. And then I believe we have one more. Can one sell partner products like network marketing company products? If yes, should branding be used?
So I think this is a reseller question. It sounds like a reseller question. You can resell products in Amazon, but there's a huge caveat to that. You have to have, for example, you can't resell Nike, you can't resell major brands in the store. That's a huge no-no. Some companies do require a license agreement for you to be able to resell their products on Amazon. So I would, if you have any hesitancy there, make sure that you don't need a license agreement, or if you do need a license agreement, just have a license agreement in place. What we typically see with reselling in the store is arbitrage, wholesale, retail arbitrage. What that means is people will, like, let's say, go to the exchange, and I use the exchange because we can all relate to that. Let's say they go to the exchange, it's a Black Friday sale, and they buy 200 Coach bags at like 40% off, and then they sell them in Amazon store for a higher price point. That is totally fine. You can totally do that. Some people do wholesale arbitrage where they buy items in bulk for a discount to then resell them in Amazon store. That's totally fine. You can do that. What you can't do, like I mentioned, is resell under the same brand name as Nike or any other major brand. You have to have a license agreement in order to do that. The thing I will say that about reselling that can be tricky is you have to make up in volume what you're to be able to get a decent margin or make a decent profit. You have to make that up in volume. So it does require you to sell quite a lot in order to make a profit. Because again, you're probably only making cents on the dollar, unless you're getting this for a crazy good deal. And people are not going to shop the product. They're not going to buy the product on Amazon if they can get it cheaper from another seller on Amazon. So just keep that in mind as well.
Thanks, Abby. And then I have another question, which was a common question from registrants, asking how quickly can you set up an Amazon store and how much money will be needed for the process? Is there like a common amount that's needed?
I don't think you need money to set up an account. You just have to make sure you sign up for that selling plan, whether it's the individual or the professional selling plan. I think it's all dependent on what you're trying to list and your comfortability with listing the product, like what you have already ready. Maybe you don't have high res images. Again, you should probably not publish your listing until you have those things in place. But there's so many variables. I've seen people do it in as little as an hour. I've seen people do it in a day. It all depends. There's too many variables to give you a solid answer. But it all depends on like your subject matter like knowledge of it, what resources you already have available to list your product effectively, and things of that nature.
Thanks, Abby. And one last question. How much time would one have to invest to be successful with launching their products on Amazon or following through with any initiatives that you have?
Well, success is going to look different for everybody. I would say my biggest thing that I always call out, and I'm going to be honest because I'm a veteran, y'all are military too. I'm not going to lie to you. It does take a bit of time to finally get to a good spot with selling on Amazon. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes patience. It takes really analyzing the data. I can't emphasize that enough, to see where you can, tweak and edit and optimize your product listing, optimize your advertising strategy, things like that, right? It does, once you start developing a pattern of purchase behavior, that's going to help dictate what you do next. So you kind of need a pattern of purchase behavior to be able to say, hey, maybe I'm using the wrong keywords. Maybe I need to use this keyword, or maybe I need to do this to the product description, or maybe I need to try this way to advertise. I will say that always read your product reviews, because they're a great source of data. They're probably one of the best sources of data. I've worked with a small business who used his 1-star product reviews to change his product completely. And once he did that, he had no more 1-star product reviews. It was incredible. So use that as a source of data as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Abby, for all of your valuable insights. It really, like you said, is a process to get your products launched, your business up and going. You do have to, of course, commit to that time investment. But yeah, Amazon offers so many great opportunities for, any type of initiative, business development initiative you're trying to seek out. And again, Abby, I can't thank you enough for joining us to provide these insights to IVMF grads and current participants. And also, as a side note, I want to add that this webinar is recorded. It will be available to view on demand before the end of the day today. So I know there was a couple of people asking about like the recording. So that will be available to view. And also, if you just have any questions or just want to access these links, I will definitely just go ahead and filter them out from the slides. But again, thank you so much, Abby, for your insights. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I really do appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, bye all.